Welcome back. In this tutorial we are going to cover Advanced Ortho number 7. So starting off with our base questions, does it have symmetry? It does. The front half and the back half are the same, and that's the only direction of symmetry that we have. How would we describe this shape / how many chunks could we tear it into? I would say 2 chunks, this kind of U shape with a notch cut in it, and this kind of house shape or arrow shape with a hole through it and a triangle cut on the end. So which view best shows the shape? I would say top view would definitely describe the shape the best. So let's go ahead and draw this in 2 chunks. So we're going to start with this U shape, not concerning ourselves with this notch just yet. So if we come over to Inventor, we can see that I still have number 6 up. So let's start a new part. And we'll sketch on the top and project our geometry because we do have symmetry. And we're going to draw a line 2.4, and we will do a symmetric constraint between this point, and this line. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to draw in the rest of the general shape without dimensions. Throw a symmetric constraint, this line and this line, symmetric about this line. And now we can go back to our PDF and start putting in some dimensions. So we've got 1.12 and a ½ inch here. So we can go 1.12 and a ½ inch here. And this dimension needs to be placed yet. So this notch here we can see is 0.40. So here to here is 0.40. And that's it. So we're going to finish sketch and double check our height dimension, which is 1.9. So we're going to extrude both halves 1.9. Next step, let's do the next easiest thing, which would be to put this notch in. We can sketch on this point here. And I'm going to project geometry and do this a little bit differently. I'm going to put in a 2-point center rectangle because that gives me auto symmetry. Now I know that this is 0.4 by 1 inch. So I can come back and dimension from the line at the top of the part 0.2 and then 1 inch for the length. This part sticking up is irrelevant because we're just going to use that rectangle as a cutting reference. So we are going to extrude all 4 quadrants of the rectangle as a cut through all and hit OK, and there's our cut. So the next thing we need to do is sketch out our kind of pointed part, the arrow looking part. And in order to do that, we are going to sketch on our XZ plane, project all 3 planes. And first step will be to put a point out here on this line. And we need a distance of 4.7 from the end of the part. So we're going to go from the end of the part to here, 4.17. And now I'm just going to draw in our shape. Notice that that line should be horizontal, but it's not, which is okay. I can just come back and put a horizontal constraint on it. A symmetric constraint, these 2 lines about this line. And now I can start to put in some dimensions. So what do we know? Well, we know that this line is 1.4 inches from this one. So we can add that. And we know that our angle between these 2 lines is 60 degrees. So if we put that in, that's there. The other thing we need to do is a symmetric constraint between these 2 points and this, and that will force them to align with each other. It says we still need a dimension. Not sure what dimension it's looking for. Got the 1.4. Got our angle. Got our symmetric constraint, but we're not given that, so that's interesting. But as I move this geometry, okay, there it is. So there is not a coincident constraint between this point and this line. I thought I was careful when I put it on there, but I wasn't, which is okay. We'll go ahead and add that coincident constraint, and now we are fully constrained. So just by kind of dragging my geometry around, I was able to modify it to the point where it showed me where I needed to fix it. So we'll go ahead and finish that sketch, and the height of that is 1.12. So we'll go ahead and extrude this 1.12. Something doesn't look right. .4.70. So I've got the wrong dimension here. So we'll go ahead and change that. It looked a little short. That looks better. Okay. So that's fixed. Two last things we need to do is put a hole in here, 1.38 over and up 0.56. That's a ½ inch hole. And this triangle. So let's go ahead and we'll do this hole first, 1.38 and 0.56. So if we do a hole, that's our reference plane, 0.56, and then to this line, 1.38, and that is set. So the last thing that we need to do is this triangle cut. And if we take a look at this, this is actually really, really easy. We know that the distance from this line to this point is 0.76. That's all we care about. 0.44 is the depth of the cut. So when I say that's all we care about, here's what I mean. We're going to come over here and we're going to put in a 2-point center rectangle off of the point, and we're going to dimension from here to here 0.76. This is all we care about. The angle is already set by this extrusion. This is just filler that we're going to use as a cut body. So we're going to extrude that as a cut 0.44, and there's our triangle. So in reality, it's not that complicated, but it looked a little more complicated than it really was. So thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.